My parents took me out of their will and are giving everything to my sister and said I was never wanted. I was helping my parents with doing a bit of late spring cleaning and throwing a lot of old rubbish out when I came across what I assume is the most recent copy of their will, date June 2012. I didn't mean to look at it, but as I was moving it I noticed in the beneficiaries section on the front only my sister was listed. Then, I know it was horrible of me to do, I decided to have a read through it. I'm not in it at all. My sister is listed as the sole beneficiary. She will get their house, life insurance policies, savings, car, absolutely everything. They aren't rich people by any means, but due to the way property prices have risen since they bought their house in the 80s, this probably comes in total to about $500K. They have always had a thing with favoring my sister a bit more than me, giving her extra attention and stuff, but I've never really minded. She is a bit of a screw-up, and if I'm honest, she has needed the extra attention. I'm not going to lie either. My financial situation is a lot better than my parents. I'm engaged, and together me and my partner, no kids, make about $45K a year. She is a single parent of 2 children, deadbeat dad, no child support, earning about $16K a year. I know that is a lot of a gap, and I would understand if they left her a greater share to help her out more, but leaving me with nothing just seems so harsh. Whilst me and my fiancé do earn more, we aren't exactly rolling in money, and even if they had only left me 20%, it would still be more than enough to help me start to buy a house. Obviously, this is all hypothetical, as they are both perfectly healthy and have a long time in them yet. It just seems harsh that if they were to die tomorrow, my sister would be set, whilst I would be left with nothing. Am I right to be angry about this? Should I confront them about it or not? I know it's not my money at all, but she is a terrible daughter to them. Over the years, she has lied to them, stole money from them, and me, had to be bailed out and fines paid for drugs charges, etc. She barely even finished school as well, so whilst she is financially worse off, it's only because she has made herself so. On the other hand, I visit them all the time, help them out whenever they asked, went to university, which they had always wanted me to do. I paid for it 100% myself with no help, and it just seems like they are punishing me and rewarding her for being such a failure. Additional info. With me, they have always had a parenting style of letting me make my own way. If I wanted something, I was expected to do chores, get a job, and pay for it. I don't mind at all, it's made me more responsible. My sister, on the other hand, they always bought what she wanted and never really expected as much from her as me. Update. Hello all. Thank you all for your responses. I think the very vast majority of you understood what I was upset about, with only a few idiots thinking that it was about money rather than validation of what I had always believed a bit, that they prefer my sister. I wanted to get this sorted out as soon as possible for book the afternoon off work, and went around to see them and learned 2 new things about myself from my parents. 1, I was an accident. Apparently after my sister, my mum had a miscarriage and they decided not to try again, and then a year later along pops me. Because I was unplanned, they hadn't really though through their finances, and so for about a year and a half my dad had to work 2 jobs, and has always felt that I made him miss out on my sister growing up, and that because he rarely saw me, he has never really connected with me. As for my mum, the previous miscarriage had put her off of having children. She was content with her little girl, and by then, age 39, was quite happy to be done having children. 2, they are disappointed with me. They don't like my fiancé. They don't like that I live a 40-minute drive away. They are sad that I chose accountancy instead of doing a law degree, but most of all, they are disappointed that I am not closer to my sister. That is friends with a girl who spent most of her life bullying me, who has treated them appallingly, who stole money from them regularly until she moved out, and who I was persuaded to lend 2,000 euros of my savings for university to, so she could clear some debts. She never paid that back, and I had to get into a lot of debt myself to get through my final year. It's not even like I am horrible to my sister now. I love my niece and nephew and spoil them all the time, and for their sake will help her out from time to time with money for bills, food. Apparently this is why I am not in the will, and never have been, except when I was younger, where custody of me would have been given to an aunt until I was 18. They have never really seen me as their son. I was always a bit too distant and self-reliant, and apparently made it easy for them to love your sister more. I'm not down to get anything, as they don't really view me as part of the family. Me going away for 3 years to uni made it worse, but it's something that they have always felt. They asked me if I felt that it was wrong what I did, and said if I could persuade them otherwise they would change it somewhat. My sister would still be the main beneficiary, but I would get something from them. I know our relationship will probably be disappointed with me for my response, but I just left. I told them I didn't care about the money at all, and if they cannot see me as a son, then I no longer see them as parents. I am excluded as my parents are unhappy with my life choices despite never telling me so before. Also, I was unwanted, and so they have never really connected with me or viewed me as part of the family. Because they were so focused on my sister, I became self-sufficient and grew up faster, and that made them feel more distant. My sister means more to them than I, and they do not want to change their minds or try to work things through. I have no parents now. However, on a positive note, my future in-laws are awesome, and I have been calling her mother Mum for a while now, so I do kind of get some parents.